and I believe that it is inconsistent with anybody who, whether you are on the right or on the left, whether you're a liberal or a conservative, you're elected to an office, you have the responsibility to govern. When you have the responsibility to govern, you don't come here to, in essence, take California voters and their budget and hold them hostage for some views that ultimately only represent 5 to 10% of the people in the state of California. It's just wrong. So I found it necessary to respond today to Senator Dick Ackerman. I mean, let's face it, the Assembly did its job. We gavelled down and we recessed until the 20th of August, which is when we will reconvene. We will not reconvene 1 day, 1 hour earlier than that. We met our obligation to the people of California by passing a budget on time. That was a couple of days late. I shouldn't say on time, but I should say by at least passing a responsible budget. And so we met our obligation by doing that. And, you know, it seems to me that the Republicans in the Senate that are holding up the budget want to have 1,001 reasons as to why things aren't working the way they want them to work. You know, need to know they live in a certain reality. Dick Ackerman in particular, I think he's a decent human being on a personal level. I like him a lot. I think he's a good person. But there's no question that once we gavelled down and recessed for the summer, a lot of fingers were pointed at the Assembly by members of the Senate Republican Party. And I take real issue with that. I take very strong issue with that. I will tell you that the focus of at least my concerns are not so much what matters. How I feel about the issue doesn't matter, but here's what matters. The conditions upon which I will, if ever, take another look at the budget. Somehow the Senate Republicans think we'll come back on the 20th and that at that point we'll renegotiate the budget. There is no budget to negotiate in the Assembly. The budget in the Assembly has already been negotiated. We're down to one person in the Senate that has to vote on this budget so that the budget can get out. The governor supports the budget. Senator Parada and the Democrats in the Senate supported the budget. All of the Assembly, including Democrats and Republicans, support it and support the budget. This is the budget. The question is, when are the Republicans in the Senate going to stop holding this budget hostage and holding the people of this state hostage? So what I wanted to make very clear to Senator Ackerman today is not, I'm hurt that you may have, said this or that about me. What I want to be very clear is that if somebody wants me to re-engage in the budget negotiations, here are my conditions. And it won't happen until after the 20th, if it does. Number one, I got to get something out of the budget that I don't have right now, meaning that there has to be gains for Democrats in this budget. So my first condition is I want to reinstate that 6-month delay of the SSI-SSP COLA, which affects the blind, the disabled, and the elderly. My second condition is that I insist upon the $900 million or so of the public transportation spillover funds for public transportation for the state of California that were not eliminated but were reduced to $200 million. I want to reinstate and restore those funds in the budget. My third condition is that I am not going to make a cut of one single penny to public education or any social service programs for the state of California. I'm not going to do it. And then lastly, given the fact that Senate Republicans, through the bullying tactics that they've employed, have figured out a way to get the governor to agree to make an additional $700 million worth of vetoes using his blue pencil. And as disturbing as that is to me, it's pretty clear. I'm not interested in any negotiations on CEQA. We're not going to make any changes to that. At one point in time, I had considered the possibility of engaging with the governor, the Attorney General, Senator Parada, and others to evaluate whether or not we were moving down the right path on CEQA. At this point and from this point forward, I am not interested in any negotiations on CEQA, certainly not tied to the budget, nor independent of the budget. As far as I'm concerned, as long as I'm in this legislature, it's not going to happen.